Hi there, today I wanted to talk about IELTS Task 1 and specifically about how candidates handle the introduction. Introduction is one of the probably 4 paragraphs that you're going to have for a Task 1, and it's crucial because it kind of sets the scene for the examiner of what your writing is going to be like and what degree of respect he is going to give it. Candidates know that the introduction is important and many of them regard it as a bit tricky. Some common mistakes are copying words or copying the entire introduction from the exam paper, and this is something which is quite notorious, and to be honest, most people know that you can't just copy everything. If you do that, then you're going to get some severely negative consequences for it. The problem is that most people follow the route of, I know I need to change this a bit, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the exact sentence that IELTS have given me, and then I'm going to just swap a few words, and then that should be okay. And I call this substitution. So for example, if the original exam paper says something like the graph shows information about car sales in China from 1999 to 2009, then the candidate might substitute a few words and say something like this. The chart displays information about car sales in China between the years 1999 and 2009, and he might think that that's okay, and in some cases it might be okay. The thing is that you don't want to be okay, you want to be better than that. You want to kind of stand out a little bit more to the examiner. It's very, very dangerous in IELTS if you copy words, obviously, and I'm not just talking about copying the whole question, I'm talking about copying consecutive words. If you copy like 3 or 4 words consecutively, the graph shows information about. So if you copy consecutive words, like for example, the graph shows information about, that's 5 words, it's well over the limit, and you don't want to be doing that because you're going to get punished for it. So you have to find techniques to get around that, and substitution is what most people find. However, a much better way is to think about, how can I change the grammar? How can I change the grammar of this rather than changing just vocabulary? Because another difficulty with vocabulary that some candidates have is that they don't really understand the words that are in the task, and they change it to something which they think is similar but actually isn't. So for example, in Task 1 it might say something like the bar graph gives information about book production by a certain company, and instead of book production they've maybe changed it to production of novels, which is not the same as books. It's a kind of book, but it's not the same. Okay? Or instead of production, they might have changed it to consumption, which actually means completely the opposite. So you have to be quite careful when changing words around. That's my message. Probably the safest way to adjust the initial information that you're given, like the graph shows information about that sentence that IELTS give you. The easiest way to do that is think about switching the grammar around and changing the position of various things. You've got the graph, you've got the information, you've got the topic, and you've got the time. And IELTS gives that to you in a very specific order. They will always say, the graph shows information about the topic, and then the time. But if you can use your grammatical skills to adjust that, then you don't really have to change so much vocabulary, you don't have to take so many risks. So if we take a sentence like, the graph shows information about book sales in Finland in 1999, then you might change that to something like, the information shown in the graph is about sales of books in Finland in the year 1999. And there you have changed the grammar, you've changed the order of the things in the sentence, and without really changing any vocabulary or taking any kind of risks like that. So that might be a way to go about it. But if you're going to take anything from this video, please take this. Do not copy the words, and try to avoid copying any words really from the sentence that you're given at the beginning of the Task 1 above the graph. Just don't do that. And also, try to adjust the sentence in your own words without changing words that you're maybe a bit dubious about and don't understand, because that's very dangerous. Alright, well, I hope people found this video helpful. I will see you soon in the next one.